You're still at home? Okay.
Yep.
All right, great. All right, so yeah, maybe we start by sharing some wins updates. Would you like to start?
Uh,
Over
okay.
this weekend, or I guess since we last met on since Thursday?
Um, what can I say? What can I say? I
Well,
mean, it's been
you're not.
good. We've got a so we've just refurbished one of the rooms in the house, and that was
Okay,
really nice because it was good because we were doing it together, and yeah, we could have paid somebody to do it, but there's an element of I kind of like doing stuff around the house or in the garden myself because
okay.
it's satisfying and it's nice when we do it together and we get it done with we have to work through whatever for instance laying a carpet, right? it
Mhm.
I mean, in hindsight now I probably would have done it differently, but decorating the room and refurbishing it and putting thermal so you can see here it's this wall, right? So
Oh, wow.
we put
Okay.
we put thermal cladding on the
Uh-huh.
inside of the room and then
Okay.
repainted it.
Wow,
And then we
nice.
also we put in a new carpet. Now it took us all day to put in this carpet. So would
Okay.
it have been better to pay a professional £75 and they would have done it in a couple of hours? Yes, it would have been.
Okay.
From a
Uh-huh.
time management perspective, poor decision. But from a working together and going, well, how do we do this? And it was good. I enjoyed
Okay.
it. So
Okay.
yeah, there's a balance here in life, isn't there, about who, not how,
Right.
and you know paying others to save time, but
Right.
also the satisfaction in achieving something and doing something, which is working towards greater togetherness. So I think there's you have to pick and choose when to apply which rule, if that makes sense.
Right. Right.
Um,
Well, if you
but
enjoy, that's the thing.
oh yeah, 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 yeah,
It's about whether you are getting enjoyment, right? You're getting value from the activity. It's
yeah.
yeah. And besides, I think this is for pleasure. This is not for work.
Well, yeah, there is that. But then again, so Olga's going to be traveling to Thailand for,
Oh,
yeah, she'll be spending a month there with
uh-huh.
Anastasia, our daughter, and then
Okay,
they're
nice.
both coming back
Okay.
for Olga's birthday. So it's a bit of a long journey away. So really, today is going to be a bit of a free day, and so
I
is tomorrow, because
Oh,
I'm
okay,
taking her to the airport tomorrow
okay,
evening.
okay. Oh,
So we
wow.
won't see each other for a month. So we're gonna,
Okay, wow. Wow.
I've got a couple of
Okay.
meetings that are kind of already booked that I've got to do, but um, I'm not gonna be paying much attention. So actually, so coming on, that's not a win, by the way, but but well, coming on to JCF and stuff, I'll be focusing on that on Wednesday, and
Okay,
that's it.
nice,
So,
nice, great. All right, so I'll share my wins quickly. Well, first is I watched Ben's training yesterday morning.
uh-huh,
It's called
yeah,
the Rapid Transformation. If you haven't done that, highly recommend. Okay, just 30 minutes. I think it's a condensed version of a lot of the things. And I decided to sign up for it. Okay, it's basically essentially a condensed version of platinum. Okay, but offer for the next 2 months. So reason why I'm saying it's a condensed version because there's going to be materials released on Monday and Wednesday, and a 90-minute call on Friday. So each week is it's pretty. So I mean, given I've been in Ben's program, learning stuff since 2018. Okay, I have to say, and I don't say this lightly, I think this is his best ever, stuff ever. Okay, like he's like condensing everything, within 2 months, and sort of his best shot. So, really excited. Okay, just started. So that's I think one win, and part of that is to set up and achieve quote unquote impossible goals. Okay, so I have a few of those, but related to JCF, that will be 1,000 users with 15 million assets under management. Okay,
Hmm.
so 1,000 plus. So that's on average, I think 15,000. 15,000 on average per person invested. Now, with impossible goal, that means I have some idea, but not the entire idea about the pathway to achieve that. But we'll see. Okay, things will, interesting things will start to probably come up. And just one thing related to your mentioning about doing something you enjoy, even you can pay. That's fine. Ben interviewed this guy. You probably know the guy. He went from 10 years, 3 buildings to 3 years, 10 buildings. And actually, he's probably going to be getting 6 or 7 buildings by the end of this year. Okay, Greg, this guy. And he still takes the trash out of, the company for his company. So that's that. Now, Debo, okay, yes, last week, talk about doing automated strategy. He already showed the prototype and it's
Oh,
connected to
really?
API. Yes, already can do some early detection, sending email notice alert. I gave a feedback earlier today that was very fast. He spent literally a weekend on that. Okay, and I think it's already probably 70%, 60, 70% of what we want. Okay, at least in terms of a minimum thing. And thanks to you talking about the coach, the weekly planner thing, I had a session with Rebecca last week. So ask her more detail about how weekly planner and also the pocket coach. So she said pocket coach is like a quarterly planning, and then you take part of that to the weekly, planner. So I started to on a bit of the pocket coach, although not a weekly planner yet. So those are my wins. Okay. All right.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
so
Well, I think the Devo news is really, really good.
right,
That's
right.
exciting.
Yes.
Um,
And he's very active. He's active.
yeah.
Okay. So, oh, by the way,
Well, I'd like.
as a corollary to that, I also asked him and Josh to discuss over the weekend, see what's their estimate about the integration, the front and back, because I still, wanted to do that. But, they haven't chat over the weekend. So I'm deciding this will be postponed. Okay, so I guess it's let's focus on the automation first because that's got momentum. Okay. And the other thing now, this is a crazy idea, okay, but I'm actually thinking about, but this is part of the impossible goals kind of thing. I'm actually thinking about me spending some time trying to see if I can personally rebuild the current JCF system. Okay, using the latest tools. Okay, just like a pet project. Okay, because I think it's going to be a good, interesting exercise. Like apart
Why is
from
that
existing,
crazy?
well, because if it can be done, then that means our development speed will likely 10x.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't. There's nothing crazy about it at all, Shinjin. I just think it's what you do, right? It's what your skill set is at, right?
Yeah,
You're the technical guy.
the crazy part is I'm planning to start from scratch, like from zero. Okay. And literally, based on what I know now and based on maybe the latest tools that the software industry has offered, right? Because it's been 5 years, right? So I'm assuming there are much better tools now. And given my experience, right, because I do have experience regarding how software systems should work architecture. So the crazy idea is that if I just do it myself by starting from the ground up, like my friend, I don't know if I share that story with you, he literally rebuilt the game system for Edutech game within a week using, Roblox platform. So he basically got to about like 70, 80% of what his team previously, like 10 plus people, a couple of years, what they've built. He literally rebuilt the whole thing within a week by himself with ChatGPT. Okay. So I knew from his example that it was actually something possible. I mean, not 100%, but maybe to a stage of 70, 80%. But then if that can be done, we will be at a very different level in terms of control of the source code and the system. Yeah. So yeah, that's something. Just a thought, but
Oh, good. That's really good.
and
there's nothing crazy about that at all.
And that's part of seems... Yeah, and that's part of the 3-person unicorn. Because I am fascinated by that concept, and I truly believe that it is actually doable, given software technology, given a lot of the latest exponential growth. And the thing is, there's nothing inherently impossible about the 3-person unicorn. It's really a matter of whether a team of people determined enough and believe that's possible, and they actually went on and do it, right? And right, I mean, it's just a tech trend, right? The exponential decreasing costs, and also whether you are tapping into a client demand, right? That is huge enough. Right? I think it's really about that. So
yeah, right. agree. Well done. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, that's really good. No, I really like that. Yeah, I really like that. So that's cool.
Yeah. All right, so let's start. So I guess funnel, right? I think the default topic will be funnel and its improvement. And I guess anything else you'd like to discuss? Or maybe let's just focus on
that. I do have one question. In the Slack channel, you're talking about November 21 or something with the devs. Right. I don't understand what that is.
That is the integration thing that I just I think it will be postponed for now. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Simply because I don't think, so one thing I'm sort of upping my standards as well is that I think I will not spend time on projects without trustworthy team members, or basically accountable team members. I think that's going to be like one standard ahead, of things I'm doing. If there is not a partner, a team member that is reliable and trustworthy, for example, show up on meeting or deliver what they promise, then that's a no for a project. So I think that is just kind of a mental kind of standards upgrade that to say no to. Okay. So that's what I mean. It's not to say the person is life happens, all things happens, but if the team is not yet ready, then let's move to something with better momentum. Something correlated, I did do the survey about the sub-account thing on Binance, so this is the result. For 10,000, okay, recall that we were discussing a different business model, for example, a service of letting a client open Binance account. We just offer the service. Binance does offer sub-accounts for individuals. You don't have to be a company. The minimum, though, is 10,000 US dollar in your account. But that matches nicely with maybe our next potential clients, right? If we're aiming at, let's say, 15,000 on average per person and 1,000 participants, right? Then, they have to be able to pull up at least $10,000 as an investment. So maybe that's a thing, that's a strategy we can start to think moving forward, meaning that the clients we will onboard, and maybe it's kind of like a VIP kind of fund, right? With a larger minimum, but also greater return, right? For example, we can have a smaller or even zero share dividend aspect to the profit sharing part, and then give them the investors more return, right? Charging 23% as you suggested, and but maybe the minimum requirement will be 10,000, right? So that they can open a Binance account with sub-account feature. You see? Do you see my point?
Okay. No, I don't. Okay. I understand what you're saying, but I don't understand why it has to be the minimum and what the sub account.
No, that is Binance. That's Binance requirement. Okay, Binance doesn't give sub accounts feature to everybody. Okay, used to be proper account. You have to be like a company account to have like sub account features. right?
So what's the purpose of this? I don't understand the purpose of a
The
sub
sub
account.
account, okay, so recall that with any account, which is literally a set of wallets, you can generate API keys to allow remote access to your account to do stuff by, let's say, a computer software. Now, one of that is trading, right? You can do trades. The other is actually transfer of funds out of your account. Okay, so obviously maybe it has to be some trust there. No, this is just how we should be getting paid, because to manage clients, portfolio, maybe the trading is enough to do rebalancing, right? Entering in and out of position. But then when it comes to paying us in terms of the profit, the idea is that we also want that to be automatic, right? And one way to achieve that, at least technically speaking, is for the client to have at least two accounts. One is their main accounts for doing all the portfolio management, rebalancing, the profit making part. The second account is for paying us, solely to pay us, right? Let's say keeping a balance of 1,000 there, and then pay by, basically we will allow the system to transfer that. Obviously, granted, they can push a button, for example, or they verify or whatever. This is just, yeah. Go ahead.
Can't we create some form of smart contract?
Right. Yeah, that's doable as well.
Because here's the thing: if you, I don't disagree with having a minimum commit of 10K, because then what you do is you find only serious players, right?
Right.
And that's important.
Right.
Having said that, because people don't trust the system,
right.
and we're unknown, therefore untrustworthy.
Right. True.
Oh, sorry. No, we're not untrustworthy. We're just unknown, and therefore nobody has any means of measuring our trustworthiness.
Right. You have to test and verify, right? Yeah.
So to do that, the easiest way is to throw $100 in and see if they can get $100 out.
Right. True.
Now that straight away breaks any kind of minimum commitment. For somebody who's a serious investor, it's a nonsense, right? Because they'll just do the 10K. I get that, and that's the sort of people we want. But how long did it take Ray Dalio to create the level of trust where people were giving millions? How long for Warren Buffett? It took time, right? It might not have taken a year. It might have taken 10 years. I don't know. But the point is, it took a period of time for people to see, oh, wow, the results over there are really happening. True. Wow, I want to be a part of that.
Smart contracts are something people potentially could trust. Smart contracts, on the other hand, yeah.
So then, because then it's a case of, well, the contract says, if this happens, then this happens.
Right.
It ain't going to happen unless it does. So therefore, it's okay. And that then alleviates the need for the whole subcontract sub account. Again, the sub account is okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Okay, that's a good point.
Another idea.
I agree. That's the direction we should move. I agree. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So I think what we ought to do now.
What's the other idea? Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was going to say. I think what we need to do now is A, put up an impact filter, and B, work through a process map of what we want to see happen, right?
Okay.
So to go from A to B, and then we're clear, because obviously, if we want a smart contract to happen, then we need to know what the process is. But if we want to tell other people what we're going to do, then they need. I'll give you an example. Last week, IncomeSec brought on a new customer. Well, put an existing customer on a new platform.
Okay.
And it was a security program, a security service, and it was called Email Threat Protection. And basically, they changed the DNS files. All of their mail points to this platform, and this platform filters all their email. And when it whitelists, sorry, no, it doesn't whitelist. It puts into quarantine all the dodgy emails that come in, and then gives a report to each user when But the thing that wasn't clear to us, IncomeSec, as the MSP or integrator, was the process. When this happens, this happens. When this happens, this happens. And I just sat there and I thought it would be so simple just to have a flow. And when I was watching some of these other guys, you know, these guys who do custodian work, you know, the guys that do onboarding, they all have flow charts, right? Simple, you know, dot, 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 dot. And I think that's a really good thing to have. So that's, you know, I think you and I need to, if we're agreed on this, then we build it up from that concept. If it's on a whiteboard and we've kind of gone, yeah, that works, or what about this, then that's the place to find the issues as best we can.
Right.
Before we actually build anything. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Yeah, done it on the paper first, right? Try to make it see if it's logical, right? That I mean, you know, just it's cheapest just to redesign on the design board. It's always cheapest to modify. While it's still blueprint. Yeah. So
I mean, that's, you know, I was watching a program about Jaguar, you know, the car manufacturer Jaguar, right?
Jaguar, Jaguar, yeah.
So it's a semi-prestigious brand. They make, right, when they're making a new car, they build it out of clay. And somebody actually sculpts it out. So it goes from drawing to clay, life-size clay model. And then they make the prototype first out of clay. So that they can actually physically see it. And I think that's really interesting because
it's the prototype concept.
And then they build the machine.
Right.
But anyway, all right, that's really cool. Well, look, I haven't. So basically, last week I spent a lot of time working with Olga on this room. Just having some time to ourselves because she's going to go away, and so too for the next couple of days. So I really haven't done much at all. You know, it's quite funny, really.
That's fine.
I spent all this time talking about how wonderful that was, and I might as well just thrown it out the window because the amount of attention I paid to it. It's quite ironic, really. So this week, I've actually put that I've got 4 buffer days. Sorry, 2 buffer days and 4
focus days or 3 days?
3 days.
3 days.
Because I'm going to have today and tomorrow are going to be free, really.
Right.
So coming on to the ebook, then I gave you I don't know, I haven't read Slack. So I don't know what the feedback was on that.
I don't know. Okay, maybe can check quickly. I actually asked Poet to do some revision. I mean, just some editing for the current ebook. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, I do have one crazy idea about the book.
Okay.
Okay, which is, I mean, okay, but maybe we should try that on the second iteration, you know, after we have launched that, because I do feel that launching is the priority now, you know, like just simply getting a working funnel. But for the next version, or for the second additional improvement, the crazy idea is that because, you know, I've been doing, you know, book for potentially for, let's say, a very well-known expert, right? Like a mentor type. And so I think there's now, I actually have been fine-tuning this process of trying to create a book out from an interview. Okay, so it's going to just be like the original input is just, let's say, a 90-minute interview, and turn that into a booklet. Okay, that can be kind of a very specific message, but with a certain format where there's a summarized version of the interview. So you don't have to like go over the whole thing. You can save time while getting the main points. And there's also an AI opinion, okay, which is provided by ChatGPT. And, you know, potentially we can maybe have other expert opinion as well. But the point is, as opposed to, okay, now this is something, okay, I like to share because this is something I learned from the process of doing the ebook, potentially for Dr. Yang. Okay, that was the intended audience client. And last week, just last Tuesday, he saw the third iteration of the book. Okay, so I've been basically churning up like one book every week. Okay, one version every week with improvements. And the last version, he just thought that this is not going to cut it. He felt, but the audience, but granted, the audience are elder people who may not like too much of the techie or AI stuff. But granted, I think he had a valid point that the book's content is not just appealing enough in terms of engagement or like a human touch or good I guess presentation or sentences, because obviously it was AI generated. Okay, so there are and also he wasn't satisfied with a couple of things. One was statistics to basically get validation, and also examples. Okay, like you want to have concrete examples, not just saying a principle. You want to showcase examples to it, right? So this gave me the idea that, okay, these can be added, but okay, but also I think, right now, like our book, well, actually the last version I gave him was already something from his interview. Okay, so it's basically more original content than, let's say, if you were just asking ChatGPT for a generic answer. But right now, what I feel is that our book is, it's very much a ChatGPT work, right? Now, it's not to say it's not of value or not of interest to certain people, because I'm sure some people will find that interesting and useful. I'm sure, pretty sure. But it's just that I think, well, I can't justify this. It's just, based on my experience with the other book. If we put more materials that's like unique to us, like our story, our perspective, our view, then the book will be a lot more unique, right? It's going to be like not just sharing generalized information, well, summarized information, but it's also got a unique twist of the JCF perspective or the JCF founder's perspective. And that can come relatively easily by doing, let's say, a 60, even a 30-minute interview, just between us, and then convert that into a, book. And I already have the process and the, kind of the SOP for that. So
I think generally, I think that's a good idea. I think the thing is, yeah, you're right. Look, I mean, that's a different idea.
True. Right.
The book is the first book is just, it is what it is, right?
Right.
It's 80. Once we've got it formatted, it's 80% done. Boom, let's get it out.
Okay,
the next iteration can be, I think, if we've got, it would be good to have an interview. You could have a series of interviews. It's a little bit like a podcast, right?
Right.
When people do a podcast on something that's interesting, then people will go, oh yeah, and they watch it. But to kind of, turn that into a book would be, would be a bit more have a bit more longevity.
Right.
And I think I kind of like that. But yeah.
Okay.
I'm not really into podcasts. I find I don't know, get irritated with
it. I see. I fully get your point. I mean, there's value in books, and also in terms of condensed, edited knowledge or information, right? Filter through edited information. Yeah. I think there's value to that, right? Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, so I guess that's the update. So, yeah.
Not a crazy idea, Shunyun. That's a good idea. It's not crazy. So you've had two non-crazy good ideas, Shunyun. So
all right,
might be crazy because you're not used to doing them, but it's sound stuff.
Yeah. Okay, I see. Yeah. But I think I think they're
Or I'm becoming more attuned to you, and I'm becoming more crazy with my opinions.
Maybe that's another possibility. Yeah. All right, so good. So we still have 30 minutes. So what would you like to discuss?
Highly
I mean,
productive call.
yes, yes, it is. It is. So yeah. Okay, so I
I tell you
do
what,
want to mention one more thing. Okay. Again, this is maybe another crazy idea. Okay. Or another idea. I should
well,
just
you've had two, so let's go for a roll on three.
maybe I shouldn't label them. Well, you probably heard me about the story. I posted a job, a job, basically recruiting a personal assistant for admin stuff on a Filipino based kind of outsourcing site. I got over 100 applications flooding
Yeah,
over a
so
week, right? I think I shared that. And that just kind of overwhelmed me. Like I was really shocked because I never, had, and it's just $5 an hour for 10 hours a month. I don't know, something maybe attracted them. I actually put an impact filter as my job description, so I don't know if that helped. But given the overwhelming response, what I realized was, wow, that's 100 human beings, right? That's 100 people eager and waiting to do work, right? Remote work, granted, but they're willing to put their brain power, their ability to work on something, right? If you have something to assign them for. Now, what I realized is that, okay, so one thing over I guess this weekend, what I started to realize that there are two really powerful trends that if you combine them, I think can generate just exponential results. One is the virtual assistant, okay, VAs or remote work, but specifically virtual assistants, because they are human beings that are working, in relatively undeveloped areas, taking low salaries. The other is AI, things like ChatGPT. Okay, so I'll give you one example. What I just did. I've been doing the Chinese version of AMP, right? So I have a process of basically digesting banned stuff and then turning into like a Chinese outline, and I do the presentation myself, right? And basically record and add it through in some of my stuff or Dan stuff. And this process, we have a flow. It was done partly by Poet, partly by me, but just this past weekend, I assigned it to my newly Nigeria-based virtual assistant. She knows no Chinese, like nothing. And basically, I gave her a few instructions. Again, I just thought of that, I think, on Sunday morning or Saturday morning, I forgot, one of the mornings, and gave her some instructions. And basically, what I did was I handed her like Ben's transcript, okay, like the source of that, because he has that, and basically do translation and also do summary. Okay, and put that. So it all came down beautifully. So what that means is that actually I can or we can already operate an English to Chinese translation service, okay, with VA plus AI, okay, of some kind of material. And the point is, this is actually scalable because it's actually very little effort once you understand the SOP. It's really copy paste work, but it still requires a human being to do it because ChatGPT right now doesn't take external sites. You have to copy paste things, and you do have to like check here and there, and maybe do some proofreading. If you actually know the destined, the final language. But that is something all quite doable by, let's say, English speaking Filipinos, right? They're really good at English. So you see, if so the crazy idea is this is an example. The crazy idea is I do feel that if we are actually building a next scalable JCF service, we might want to have a lot of customer representatives, okay, who can do client service, onboarding, things like that. This is given our experience when we were doing the Taiwanese version JCF through instant messenger. okay, which is a very simple interface and everybody knows how to use, like no setup, right? But then basically what we did was we asked client to fill out a Google form that's, no more than 5 minutes, basic information, your cell phone, how much you want to invest, things like that. And then once we created account, you just send money to a bank account that we provide, right? And everything is being taken care of for you from that point on. Okay, granted that you trust our service, I think. But the point is, it allows a client to be able to get into this trend with very little time spent, okay, trying to figure out the technicality, because there is a human being between all the crypto stuff, all the techie stuff, and the client's demand. There's a human being that's doing customer service, right? So the crazy idea is, if we are actually going to do this at scale, then how about hiring Filipino, client service team who are trained in SOP procedure, obviously by someone who's very experienced, okay, and then do client service like that, okay, and that can basically you can hire 100 of them, okay, basically, and working 24 hours a day, and doing that kind of service in a very responsive, professional manner. And the point here is so to give potential clients a very easy and saves them time and comfortable experience in terms of onboarding, in terms of actually getting into this. So I guess that's and because I was still thinking about the Binance thing, like opening up Binance account, and this can be done, not our people doing, it can also be like guided, like let's say, you know, the person actually guides the other person how to set up things like that. Obviously, I think there are going to be security issues, we want to care for, all those things, privacy issues. But I think the whole idea is, there is this labor force, right, that can be trained, that can be hired at scale, and to serve, remote virtually to a potential demand if it's well structured. Okay, so I guess that's the crazy idea.
Yeah, I mean, okay. On the one hand, yes. On the other hand, no.
Okay.
So I think it depends on what it is that you want, where you thinking it's going, what you think is going to scale,
right,
and why it's going to scale. Because if we're doing a non-custodial service, then the scaling is not. It's not, and we do it. We don't need a person in there, really.
The thing is, if they know how to do it, right? If they don't know how to do it, they might require someone to guide. I mean, I'm not saying do it for them. I'm saying to like guide them over the process, something like that.
And that is where a really good how-to video works. But again, it's about process, right?
Okay.
Who do we have we mapped out the process?
Okay.
And so for instance, you gave Poet a how-to video, and whilst it was good enough for you, whilst it was good enough for Poet, me looking at it as a not having done it before wasn't good enough.
No.
So that whole customer experience process, the way it's done today is that I've seen on other kind of conventional or unconventional platforms is, it's like, here's what you do next, just a step-by-step process, and that walks the person through.
Right.
And it means then that you're not spending money on people, because spending money on people is the most expensive thing. Then it's also the biggest liability. Okay, so you hire 100 Filipinos, great. Are they all trustworthy? Not being horrible. I'm not suggesting that Filipinos are particularly untrustworthy as a people.
There are concerns about human misconduct, right?
Yeah, you just don't know And as soon as you involve a person, you don't know, because they're going to sit there and go and justify whatever it is that their actions and their thoughts are relative to how they perceive they're being understood. Right? We all do it. We all do it. And so it's a case of, you know, if somebody doesn't have the same kind of standards, then they're going to sit there and go, well, I don't care. I'll you know, I own I'm owed this.
True. So I think it's also a matter of, can you design or reduce the steps, right? What's required to do to something that is safe enough, right? That is safe enough to, I guess, to be done.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, the other thing then is that you've got to spend time on training these people. Are they capable of you know, giving the right response? Are they and that's not saying that, I don't care where they're from, any person.
True.
I have a problem when I pick up the phone and I start talking to somebody at the bank, because I know they don't actually work for the bank. I know they work for a third party that outsources to the bank, and they've got everything in the computer screen. So everything that they're telling me is based upon a computer screen. And if you go outside of that parameter, then they're like, Again, it's like, so we use a third party to take our calls. So we've got a main telephone number, and then they ring up. Sometimes they can't spell. Sometimes they mispronounce the name of the income statement. I had one customer tell me, he rang them up a second time and said, I want to speak to your manager because you were rude to me. So the thing is, you trust it to work, the process, but you can't guarantee unless there's a lot of training involved. So I just think, and having it 24/7, well, then you're going to need to have following the sun, or if you've got people in the Philippines who are going to work through the night, so that they can coincide with our day. How are you going to manage that and monitor that?
I see.
I've got software that we can use to monitor when every keystroke of a person's computer. What I don't have, though, is then you've got to have somebody who's kind of a team leader for that night shift.
So Mike, thanks for that feedback. I think what's missing now is that I don't think you or I are the right who for this. So we have stumbled.
No, I don't think it's about the right who. I just don't think it's an appropriate idea.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I just think logistically, I can think of more problems than I can solutions. It's not asymmetric.
Okay.
Right? The other two ideas, I said there was no question about it, right? It was no brainers. Yes, they made sense because they were asymmetric to our favor. This is asymmetric to our disfavor. It's going to logistically take more, right, to deal with it. And even if we got the right who, that right who might know how to solve all of those problems more quickly because they've got the experience. What does that mean? I mean, you wanna make that person a partner just so that they can fulfill one element of something that we might need. We don't know that we need it. This is just still speculation, and it might be a good idea in 6 months. At which point we'll need to solve that problem.
Okay.
If our onboarding was so successful to getting people to a certain stage, but falling over because we don't have any people to help, well, then that's the problem we need to solve, but we don't need to solve it today.
All right. So I guess thanks for that feedback. So let's just, I guess, put that in the back burner. Keep that in mind. Focus on what we can do now. The lower hanging fruit.
Forgive me. Yeah, forgive me if you think if you don't agree with me, then please.
No. I think it's good. It's good. You're right about. I think we should address problems that are relevant now, right? Rather than basically try to move things forward. Okay, so about I guess to do. Okay, so what should we accomplish? I guess before next, let's say this
Okay,
Thursday, right?
I'm
Thursday.
I'm promising on Wednesday I will dedicate specific
Okay,
time to
okay,
the ebook and the pages. So
okay,
I'll dedicate some time to that definitely. So there will.
okay.
I mean, whether or not we have a complete. So you said you've asked Poet to make a change to the ebook. Is that correct or not?
Right, right. I just checked. I think she's done some work already. Um, maybe you can have a check too. I asked her basically to do some formatting, and yeah, looks like yeah, Paula, because right now I only have very small screens, so
Right. So hold on a second. So I did give her. She's got. Yeah. Okay, fine. Okay, so she's put that. She's put that picture on the. Oh, right. Okay, fine. Right. Um, Contents. Right. Okay, fine.
okay. I think there's one last section about what next that is not in the table of content yet, but I mean because it wasn't there originally. But otherwise, I basically asked her to like structure, make sure the table of content matches with the contents, the actual content. Because
Well, here's the thing. You don't. You know that you just update it, right?
updated.
It's linked.
Okay. Oh,
It's
okay.
it's automated. All you do is you press the update button, and then it automatically. If you change, let's say you
Ah,
wanted to take
right,
the introduction section and you put that at the
right.
back of the book, you can
Okay.
do that, and then
Right,
you
right.
press update, and it automatically updates the table of
Ah,
contents.
okay. I see. Okay. Okay. Good.
So if I've just updated it now,
Okay. Okay. Good.
but if you don't,
Oh, okay.
um, yeah, if it's been moved around, it'll go to that.
Right, right, right.
Oh, so
Okay.
she's just put in some italics.
Mm-hmm. Okay. To indicate the sections, I think.
Yeah. Who wrote, can we do a summary page as a quick read in the same way? Oh, yeah, that was me. I've got a
Hmm.
meeting in 10 minutes.
Okay, sure. All right.
Is that all
So
she's done? Is that, I don't mean
yeah,
that in a
yeah. I
rude
think that's
way.
how she. Yeah, yeah. That's how she did. I mean, that's I guess probably within the the because she didn't touch on any like content, actual content stuff. That was
Right, she
mainly
didn't
about the
move.
format.
Right, conclusion, what's next? Right. So,
What's next? That is not in the table of content. That actually I put that part. I put that I think I
yeah,
kind of
because you've
right.
given it a title, not a subheading. So now if we make it
Oh,
a
I
sub,
see.
if
I see.
we
Okay, you
make it
have
a
to make that.
heading one, it will
Okay.
be there now.
You will.
You just
Okay,
need to up.
I see. Okay, all right.
Are we okay?
Okay.
All right, fine. All right, I'll read that and then the. All right, fine. I'll have to read that then. All right, okay. So, um, if I go in there and update, what's next is there. It's in there now.
Okay, good. So what would you like to see? I guess on my part, what do you think will be valuable to do?
Um, I think that if we're able to, I tell you what, what I'll also try and do is I'll also try and do an impact summary, impact filter
Okay.
for that idea that we kicked off last week.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
if you want to formulate a flow chart,
Mm-hmm.
because ultimately, if it's going to boil down to coding and AI and all that kind of stuff. So
Mm-hmm. Okay.
ultimately, there's going to be a lot of technical stuff going on in the background. But I think if you from your experience of how JCF has worked so far, if we start with the customer wants to invest some money and just the flow chart of how we think we're going to deliver that to the customer gets their money back, even it not necessarily with the, you know, what specific technology we're going to use or how much coding we have to do and all that kind of stuff, but just the flow chart of the process.
So you're talking about customer journey, right? The customer journey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one way of looking at it. But then the other thing is, what are we actually providing them? Because I've got it in my head what I think we're providing them. But again, until we do some sort of diagram and map it out, we might be going off at tangents, right?
Okay. All right.
So I think if you do that, then I, whilst I do the other things, then that's okay. Okay.
All right. I'll try to do some flow chart. Well, maybe I'll draw something. So yeah. Okay. All right. Good.
Well, yeah, you can do that. You can use your computer rather than your mobile phone. You might find it easier.
Oh, okay. All right. I got myself a tablet. I'm speaking to you with a tablet now.
Okay, good.
Okay. So
have you got your computer back yet? Have Canada given you? Why not?
Okay, I haven't had time to check with them, I guess.
That's an excuse, Shunyun. You're just procrastinating.
Okay. Right.
It was when? May, right? Or June. Right. 6 months ago.
Right. That was
they
6 months.
They stole your laptop.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
The fact that you're not doing anything about it, Shunyun, you need to. You know, it's not. It's you know, it's what. Where's your money from? What's the name of that bank? Celsius.
Right. Oh, I am doing things with Celsius. Okay, so well, I guess it's just the dollar value. Okay, may not worth the effort. Yeah, right now I am thinking about.
You've still got to buy a new computer, though, haven't you? You've still got to spend money on it.
Yeah, I have an existing computer notebook, so that's fine. Yeah, I do have another one.
Yeah, but you still okay, so you don't replace it, but they still stole it from you. You've still technically got to replace it, haven't you?
Well, somehow, but you know, I did manage, you know, to have a lifestyle without a second notebook. Yeah, so
that's you managed to have a lifestyle without it. That's fine. You managed. But the point is they still stole it from you. Okay, right. And I think that's the important thing you need to focus on, is because it's still, you know, from a it's not about whether or not not about whether or not we can cope with life. In this instance, yeah, you can cope with life until you get your laptop back. But anyway, it's like you've managed without your Celsius money.
Okay,
you've managed. Right, but it's still, you know, the point is the same whether it's $10 or it's $1 million. It's still the same point. You can manage, but somebody still has taken your money.
Okay.
The dollar value doesn't devalue the point. Anyway.
Okay.
All right, buddy.
All right. So I think All right. Okay. So thanks, Mike. I think that's next coming. Okay. Thanks.
Good.
Oh,
good
Blue Tea.
Cheers, buddy.
I think it's Blue Tea. He's joining already.
All right. See you later.
Yeah. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.